Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Resident Evil commentary, where we have finally entered the lab. Yes, that creepy music, that's actually quite reminiscent of where the soundtrack direction would go for Resident Evil 2. I don't know, it maintains that very creepy sort of ambience, and can't help but love it. Anyway, this was pretty much the door that we couldn't really be able to get into because of things. I can't remember if you can unlock it from the other side, although not you really need to. Actually, no, you can't do it to begin with, because we're down on the lower levels, so yeah. We wouldn't even be able to access it anyways, so whatevers. And of course, cutting down on more item management, the game. But this is also important in another sense, because this is where you not only need the MO discs, but actually, hang on, now that I'm thinking about it, what does the MO stand for in the MO disc? Modus operandi? Whatever. The point is, we're in the lab with the scientists. Oh yes, look at those clothing textures. And look at that blood texture. Much richer and bloody color palettes than what you would have seen on the PS1. I mean, I suppose if there is anything I can say about Resident Evil 1 is that they do tend to reuse like the same one or two zombie models, although we will be seeing a new variant, which does bring me to a bit of interesting trivia. But yeah, compared to Resident Evil 2 and 3, which really did up the, variety in the zombie models, yeah, we pretty much either have regular coat people or lab coat zombies. Whoopee, what a twist. No real unique zombie models. Unless you happen to be playing the battle game, which is a Saturn exclusive thing, so yeah, who knows really. And I mean, I only really say the battle mode of the Saturn version because it contains two unique battles that you wouldn't otherwise see, which, again, as is Skully commentary tradition, I'll be showing off in the bonus video, which will be about 2 videos from now. So yeah, stay tuned as we descend into danger. Oh my god, they're naked! Yes indeedy, it is time for some red-hot, naked, sexy zombie action. And we'll get into that bit of trivia later, but in the meantime, let's just duck in here. Which, well, I mean, apart from anything else, also brings us to one of our endgame results. A locked door that we're gonna need 3 passcodes to unlock. And yeah, that's something required if you want to get the best ending of the game. Why? Well, you'll find out as we turn on the light. And of course, examine this desk, which does bring us to, speaking of Resident Evil 2, mythology ties, / also puzzles. Yes indeed, this is John. I forgot his last name, but he's writing a letter to his girlfriend Ada. Basically explaining that everything went to hell in a handbasket, and that he's pretty much fishing out information from Umbrella. He's not able to get out of the system, he's infected with a T-virus, and basically this is what Ada was looking for back in Resident Evil 2, that she never found, and somehow Annette Birkin learned that he died, although, then again, this is a little bit before, again, the whole G-virus thing took place, but, yeah, he leaves her with his password. I wonder what that spells. Although it does actually kind of bring to mind a few, things about John that I'll probably discuss when we get to it, but yeah, this is practically our puzzle. It's written in code, so, let's see what he's looking for. First of all, we shall push this aside. Oh, look, a mysterious switch. And of course, as is typical with any power-mad conspirators and, well, something that does kind of make me wonder about Resident Evil's plotting in terms of that Japanese symbology kind of thing, but, yeah, just as soon as we eat our lovely herb. Yes indeed, Adam, Eve, and of course the Garden of Eden, and the Apple of Forbidden Knowledge. It all comes back to Genesis. Which, I mean, does make me wonder though, actually, was Resident Evil, like in terms of, the virus culture and what... Well, I mean, I suppose at this point what Umbrella's ultimate plan was, were the scientists attempting to create some sort of paradise? I mean, I'm not too sure what the T-virus's development was really meant to be. I don't think it was meant to be... I don't think, well, what we're going to be learning about the final boss of the game was meant to be the end result, but were they attempting to create some sort of, like, paradise for a race of superhumans enhanced by the T-virus? I don't know. It does kind of make me curious, actually, which, does bring me to a bit of trivia that I... Actually, you know what, fuck it, I might as well bring up now, because again, I was doing a bit of research into Kenichi Iwao, who wrote this version of the Resident Evil story, and, yeah, I later learned that after leaving Capcom in the late 90s, he went on to write and direct Parasite Eve 2, which... A very similar concept, I mean, very similar horror vibes, so it does make me wonder if maybe that was the sort of direction he wanted Resident Evil to head. Because, I mean, before he left Capcom in 1997, he did actually write, like, a very brief treatment for Resident Evil 2. Again, I don't know if it was, like, Resident Evil 1.5 or the version that eventually became Resident Evil 2, but... yeah, it does make me wonder if this would have been the direction he would have taken the series had he stuck on as head writer rather than letting, you know, Noboru Sugimura take the reins. But anyway, the Ada and John puzzle does also have another, well, bet to it, because again, not only do we need the visual data in the visual room, which is where this room visually is, but yes, now it's time for some nostalgic 90s access to the computer. 90s with its Windows 95. Wowzers. I don't know why I'm specifically getting nostalgic for this, because, I mean... I don't know. It just takes me to a day, like, long since past, and I kinda miss computer operating systems like this. Like, I mean, that's archaic as shit compared to what we have nowadays, but... it's just fun. Anyway, login is John, password is his girlfriend's name Ada, and, well, the third passcode is basically needed to unlock some doors to the basement, my dear. By the way, this scene is a lot funnier with Chris, because, I mean, although Jill is a little bit more elegant with the controls, Chris pretty much slaps down like he's a fucking monkey. And it's hilarious. And if you're wondering what, you know, that whole encoded message thing was that John was talking about, well, it'll tell you just one thing. The password is mole. Which does make me wonder, was John aware that Ada was a spy? You know, working for a foreign agency? Or was the implication that John and Ada were working together as partners in crime, and John was the one getting the info and trying to get it to his girlfriend, so were they legitimately did Ada legitimately reciprocate his feelings, or was this purely a means to an end? Because, I mean, given how Ada strings Leon along in Resident Evil 2, she's kind of a skankety slut. Actually, I mean, not even just Resident Evil 2, the rest of the series, really, because, yeah, once he gets a whiff of that Asian persuasion, Leon's pretty much just angsty as fuck. Or, I mean, at the very least in terms of, you know, Resident Evil, you know, the original continuity, I'd say. I don't know what Resident Evil 4 Remake is gonna do with that, or if it's gonna continue the whole, Leon chase me and fuck my ass, you hot American boy. Or if it's just gonna be, you know, slightly more realistically written, as the more horror-intended tone of Resident Evil 4 Remake is implying. Wow, I really do not like Ada very much. I don't know. I'm just sort of like mulling over my thoughts here, but the point is that, yeah, Ada was mentioned, and again, it's even more bizarre here, because, I mean, in Resident Evil 1.5, Ada was meant to be like a good scientist character that was meant to be, you know, like the legitimate hero before she split off into basically being Annette Birkin and her own secret agent woman thing. Oh my god, more naked zombies! Come on, let's take them all out. There we go, yes! That'll show you for not wearing pants. Well, I mean, I know the logistical reason as to why there are some naked zombies! But I mean, Resident Evil 2 kind of gave the implication that, you know, they were only really naked because they couldn't get to a chemical shower in time, so what's their excuse? Or were they having a company orgy, which, being locked in the laboratory, I can imagine would make them, quite horny. But yeah, it seems that Umbrella was in fact cognizant about how half the researchers have gone to pot, and STARS is gonna come investigating, so, yes indeedy, it seems that somebody must have been angered by this turn of events, and is, trying to co-opt the research for themselves. But what could be so good that they want to take the research? Maybe this is to do with a traitor. Rebecca is after the research. I know it. It has to be her. We haven't seen her at all. Also, this might just be my, eyes failing me, but is that meant to be Jill on the bloody, pin-up calendar for 1996? Or was that 1998? I can't quite tell from this angle. Oh, dearie me. I need some glasses. Anyway, this is pretty much where you input the MO discs. They only work once, and you only get one passcode. And in the GameCube re-release of Resident Evil Remake, they actually make the fax machines GameCubes. And now an excerpt from Genesis, which, again, does kind of make me wonder if Resident Evil is going to have, you know, in that typical Japanese way, like a more symbolic Adam and Eve kind of bent to its viral research. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was something that was dropped a little bit later, but there do still seem to be elements of that sort of like, ah yes, it's pure perfection thing there, with complete global saturation. I don't know, maybe just an unintentional aside, but still it is quite interesting, and again, you will continue to receive excerpts from Genesis as you continue to input the MO discs. So, yeah, you got a lot of that to look forward to, and of course more naked zombies. Yeah, I don't think these zombies are any more powerful than the regular ones, although they do actually make a pretty haunting groan. It's actually rather unsettling. Well, more unsettling is the fact that they're naked! Although, thankfully, I mean, even in the... and something that I was actually worrying about with Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake is that thankfully when the naked zombies make a reappearance there, thankfully you don't need to see some decaying zombie penis swinging around for all to see, so, yeah, thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Anyway, now that we've unlocked some doors, let's enter the media room, where no doubt the Umbrella scientists were watching some movies, talking to their area bosses. And this was also slightly expanded for the remake, by which I mean they added an additional room. Not that it really added much to the game, but I think it was the one place where you could actually watch Kenneth... actually, there was like 2 additional videos, I think. One of which was Kenneth's helmet cam, and the other of which was something else that I forgot. But anyway, this is also pretty much telling you what's going to happen when you hit the endgame. Basically, well, all door locks are released when the emergency alarm is hit, and basically you gotta get the fuck out because, well, Umbrella basically just going fuck it, hits self-destruct and destroys all the evidence via explosion. You know, I mean, never mind the fact that the Cerberus dogs are already released, you know, the fact that there's probably already been, you know, some viral stuff released into the wild, so it's a bit too little too late. And yeah, basically just explains that this whole situation was pretty much doomed from the start. I mean, I think even if William Birkin hadn't had that whole G-Virus kerfuffle in Resident Evil 2, yeah, things still would have gotten out of hand with the T-Virus, because I mean, if the rats were able to spread the virus throughout the sewer system, you know, what's to say a rabbit or a fox or something isn't gonna spread the virus, you know, by eating some dead remains of people in Raccoon City. But anyway, let's watch a slideshow and we're gonna find out who the traitor is. So on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Resident Evil commentary, we'll explore more of the lab. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.